Oh, hi, it's Randy. Okay, so this is a story about the time that a teacher wanted me to move in, and it wasn't my teacher. Could you imagine if I was getting on camera and I was like, my teacher wanted me to move in with him? No, it was somebody I met on an app who was like 20 years older than me. He was a teacher, but he was not mine. This story happened like 4 years ago almost, so it's been a while. I have not seen this man or talked to this man in a while, but he has reached out to me many, many times, but I didn't respond. Usually I don't respond because, well, it's been a while. It's probably been over a year, but for a while there, he was reaching out a lot, but he hits me up at very inconvenient times. He'll hit me up at like 10 o'clock at night, and he's the type that goes to bed early, has to wake up early, and I'm like, and he doesn't really live near me, so I have to go out of my way to go to him. And I'm like, okay, we're not even going to have that much time. Okay, so I met this guy on an app years ago. He lived right by my work. It was like crazy. Like I'm talking down the street from where I worked. I was like, oh, okay, interesting. He's a very nice man, like very respectful, very good manners, whatever. But okay, so he had a house and he had two roommates. It was a couple. They were like a French couple, literally from France. They had accents and everything. They were a good looking couple. It was like this blonde girl and this good looking brunette guy. And I hung out with this guy several times. So I became friends with them. Like we all went bowling together and like I hung out with them a few times. They were fun. I mean, we like I really liked the blonde bitch. Like she was really cool. Like we were like really hit it off. She liked my personality. She thought I was funny. And she was like stunning. Like she was a very pretty girl. I have pictures with her. I posted these pictures before. If you really wanted to research this, you could probably find. Anyway, literally the first time I hung out with this guy, I come over, we go on his patio. This was like May, so it was warm out. We're talking, he's telling me about his job, whatever, and he's telling me about his roommates, and he's saying like, oh, they're actually going to be moving back to France soon, like next month, and then I'm not going to have any roommates, and I'm actually looking for somebody. Are you interested in moving in? Like the first conversation, because he had like two spare bedrooms, and the rent wouldn't have been that bad. I was kind of like, well, maybe. I was like, I don't know you well, but maybe. When I told some people this story, though, they were like, Randy, that's kind of weird. I was like, okay, I don't think he means it in a creepy way. Like, it's not like I'd move in as his like boy toy or like in a relationship with him. It's just like he wants a roommate. But they were like, but I don't know, because isn't he into you? And I was like, well, I don't know. I was a little caught off guard because, okay, like I'm meeting you for the first time. We're hanging out, getting to know each other, and you're basically offering me to move in. Like that's a little like fast and kind of crazy, but like I understand he was looking for a roommate. So he was just wondering, like, am I interested? Okay, so if you recall, I had a story time about a cop that I was seeing a few years ago. We would get together and we would like drink together, watch a movie, hang out. He was wild. He was a lot of fun, but he was pretty crazy, especially for a cop. But then in the morning, because I would sleep over, in the morning he was very quiet, very awkward. We would have breakfast together. He wouldn't speak. It was very bizarre. His behavior was so different from the night before to the morning. This guy, this teacher, reminded me a lot of the cop because in the morning, so this teacher liked to drink, okay? Like in the evenings, like when we'd hang out, he was like pouring them for himself. And I was like, okay, I don't care. But in the morning, because I would also sleep over with him, he wanted me to sleep over. Like he would invite me. He actually trusted me to be. One time he had to go to work and I was off that day. So he literally let me stay in his house alone and he like went to work. He was actually pretty flattered. He trusted me to be in his house alone. He didn't know me that well, but obviously I didn't do anything. But he trusted me, so that was cool. But yeah, he would be very different in the morning as well. Like he would be a lot more outgoing. Obviously, when you're drinking, you're a lot more outgoing, and I get that. Like I can be shy around people I don't really know that well either. But I just felt like it was so awkward in the morning. Like he was so quiet. He was not talkative. I was like, okay, does he just want me to leave? Like you wanted me to sleep over, but I guess like now it's morning time. He wants me to get the fuck out because I don't know, his vibe was just very, and he would do that every time. Every time I hung out with him, I would sleep over, and his vibe in the morning was weird. I'm like, this is so weird. But he obviously enjoyed my company because he kept inviting me to go out with him and the roommates and to come over, and he kept interacting with me. So I'm like, okay, so he likes me being around, but like, why does he act so fucking weird in the morning? Why do men do that shit? And we never really had another conversation about me moving in and paying, like the rent was literally half of what I would pay for a 1 bedroom apartment. So I was kind of interested, and this was like a house. This was a nice house. And I mean, but then again, I was like, would it be weird? Because would he expect us to be in a relationship? Would we be a thing? I don't know. He's a very confusing man. I don't even know what he feel like. I know he's attracted to me, but he's kind of bizarre. So we just never discussed it again. The roommates ended up leaving to France and they moved out. And I actually, so it's been like 3 years since this happened. I'm sure he has somebody living there now. Felt like after the roommates moved, we kind of just stopped hanging out because we would all hang out together. And then once they left, it's kind of like, I mean, like I said, he would hit me up, but it was like months later, we no longer were speaking. And then all of a sudden, months later, he started hitting me up and I was like, and it was like the weirdest hours. And I was like, no. But there's no bad blood. There's no hard feelings. He's a cool guy and maybe I'll see him again one day. I don't know. I mean, he's a good friend. It's funny because he was a lot older than me, but I was way taller than him. He was kind of short. I'm tall. I'm like 6'1" or 2 maybe. I don't know if I'm 6'2" at this point, but yeah, I like towered over him, but I was like 20 years younger than him. So that was the time a teacher wanted me to move in with him. And I didn't, obviously. What is my life? The stories just never end, do they? They just never end. It's a never ending. So until next time, I'll talk to you soon.